Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, Ginger. I thought I saw Vicky, but now they're gone. Melinda, welcome. Thank you for joining. How is everybody doing today? There's lots of wonderful farm noises outside the window or outside my place. Yeah, so they will be joining in energetically, adding to our session. Hi, Jay. Hi, Tina. Welcome, Kate Kane. I don't believe I've seen you before. Welcome to everyone new and rejoining. Hi, J.E. Great. Glad that you, had this session top of mind and joined in. And also, I am double live streaming on YouTube right now. So if people want to join in YouTube or if you're seeing me there, welcome. And all of my replays are on my channel. So you can find them all there, either as uploaded videos or as recorded live streams, depending on how I do that. Because for those who don't know, I live in Bali and the internet here where I am is not great. So sometimes I have enough bandwidth to do a live stream and sometimes not. So either way, the lives are up. I do have a couple lives from this week pending. So we have the Michael Singer live on choosing peace that's in the queue for uploading, and we have the Conversations with God, which we did 12 hours ago as well. So hi, Nancy. Welcome, Mimi. Hi, Laura. So as always, I'm excited about today. I have been joining you here around this time of day on this day of the week for 3 years, consistently every week. I've probably missed a handful of times because I love it. And I love you, and I love being here with all of you. So happy to be here with you. Yeah, and just the name came spontaneously because it's fun. It's, a little lighter. There's not a set topic. So it's just kind of go with the flow. And has sort of that vibe. So it's great. Hi, Shauna. Thank you. Yeah, so we will do a collective card reading for everyone here. If you would like an individual reading, you can reach out one-on-one for that. Here in the group, we do a collective for everybody. And then we're also going to do Reiki and Ancestral Clearing. And today I have something I'm going to play for you that's a little bit special and different. So, who all here does not know Ram Dass or who that is? Anybody not know who Ram Dass is? He's so famous. More people would not know, or like more people know who he is than would not, I would imagine. So I just finished the book Polishing the Mirror, and it's got some great stories and meditations in there. So there's a story I'd heard in one of his talks, and it was amazing. And then he put it in this book. So I'm going to play it for you kind of as a contemplation a little bit later on after the card reading. And yeah, so stay tuned for that. You'll love it. It's an amazing story. It made me cry the first time I've heard it. It maybe makes me tear up every time because I've heard it now a couple times. So stay tuned for that soon. If you are new to me, I'm Natalie, spiritual life coach, Reiki Master Teacher, and intuitive. So yeah, I have offerings and ways in which I work with people. I know I've worked with many of you here, and I'm so grateful for that. I am offering to anyone that's new to me, has never had a session with me, my Powerful Truth Excavation Guided Journey. That can, it's a one-on-one session that we do where we dive deeper in. We go into like a deeper space inside and allow whatever truths are there that are ready to be revealed to have space to come up. And that can be really powerful. I'm working with this idea of denial lately in my own life, and I'm just listening to a book by Martha Beck called The Way of Integrity. And what I was just listening to this morning with that was talking about, because she's also a life coach, and she was talking about with her clients that, something that's very powerful that she does with them is just helps them to tell the truth about where they are in their life, and that like moment can help begin people to shift. And it reminds me, as somebody who came from or comes from a 12-step background, the step one, and if anybody doesn't know what that is, it says, admitted we were powerless over our addiction, that our lives had become unmanageable. So that admission of like coming out of denial is very powerful. And it doesn't have to be around addiction. It could just be like, I'm lost, I'm stuck, like I don't know what to do, I need help. We try and hold it all together. We try and put on a brave face. And do things alone, or pull up our bootstraps, and or in the spiritual community, it's easy for people, and I can raise my hand to this is what I wrote my newsletter on the other day. It's just like kind of spiritualizing away things, and like there's a balance there of like acknowledging issues and also not hiding or diminishing, but also not going to the opposite end of like getting lost in them either, but just like getting honest with ourselves is really important and powerful. So this is coming up for a reason. I'm trusting that. So maybe there's somebody here who, oh, do you see the gecko, y'all? The baby. I don't know how small he is. Yeah, there he goes. Yeah, for me, what I noticed is like there can be these layers of honesty and denial. It's like, oh, it's not that bad, or I'm doing okay, or other people have it worse, or I'm doing, better than I was. And it's like, okay, and also, how are things really going here? So, yep, something to consider. Hi, Rochelle and Cora. Glad that this is resonating, Melinda. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So you said so many years you had lived a life that was completely true to yourself. So that's a good thing, right? Or did you miss putting a word in there that you had not lived a life true to yourself? Oh, okay. That would make more sense. And actually, that's a good point. Last year, I did a couple live streams on the top 5 regrets of the dying. Who all was here for those? I know likely some of you were. And the number one regret was, I wish I would have lived a life true to me rather than a life others expected of me. So I feel like there's something here for somebody. It sounds like Melinda can relate, and maybe others, and you don't have to say anything. But yeah, that might be part of what some of you are up against as well. What does it look like to live a life true to yourself? Last night in Conversations with God, we finished the chapter on relationships and talked about not doing things out of obligation. So is there anything in your life you're doing out of obligation? That's an opportunity to let go. And there might even be things within your own practice, your own habits, your own life, where like maybe it was working and now it's not working. Like maybe it's time to take a break or give up or surrender or stop entirely. So yeah, there may be something like that for some of you as well. That's great, Melinda, that you are now. That's what's important. Hi, Friendly Pause. So if you aren't already, please give me a follow here. Give a donation if you like. Don't forget to listen to my many meditation tracks here on Insight Timer. I now have a brand new premium track. I've got 2 new ones. Bliss Sleep Talk Down Reiki meditation, and Taking Your Power Back from Them Shamanic Healing. So give those a listen along with all my other tracks. Give me a follow. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Check out my website if you want to be considered. I am gifting a few of the truth excavations. So send me a message if you haven't had a session with me before and you want to do that. So let's see. Seems like there was something else. We're going to get into the cards. Okay, whatever it was, it's gone for the moment. It may return. Let me get my charger. Excuse me. Happy Sunday from Bali. Okay. I'm just feeling into... Let's begin with pulling a card from the Work Your Light Oracle deck that I use so often. So these are kind of pointed messages and guidance. So we'll open this part of the session where we're going to dive into the collective reading. And sometimes like the messages that just came through like are continued into the reading, or it could be something totally different. But just, yeah, if it resonates, great. If not, that's fine as well. Ooh, I don't know if we've seen this card much, if at all. Birthing a new age. Look at that beautiful art. Birthing a new age. And it says, birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being. So what I'm picking up on here is like the intentionality that's in this card. So, you know, we talk about having intentions, visions, goals, dreams, like intentionally creating what you want. We even did a meditation on that the other day in the Lion's Gate. You know, we do this fairly often here. And what's important about this is the effort that went into this person, like having this moment of connection. I would say that they are like in this ritual, right? The image that we're seeing is somebody that is consciously creating, having a ceremony, you know, a prayer, a meditation, a ritual around creating what they want. And it's this moment of this birthing, which starts with a thought. But before that, look at this beautiful, you know, ring. It looks like a maze. It looks like a spiral maze of rocks. So before they went into this phase of this birthing and creating, they had to, or they didn't have to, but they made this foundation. So before, on the way to this moment, they very intentionally had to gather these rocks and place them in preparation for this birthing of the new age. So I feel like that's really important for you in this card, is that you recognize and look at being more intentional in what you want to create. And it's like both and, building the foundation and then also doing the ritual itself, doing the meditation or the prayer or creating the vision board or whatever it is for you, where you connect to spirit. It's like how we do one thing is how we do everything. I was just giving feedback to a client the other day. This client wants to have an intentional have an intentional morning practice. And she's like, they keep going, you know, to the coffee shop and not doing the prayer and meditation first, and then, you know, not pleased with what they're doing. And so I told her, I was like, look, you know, I have a morning practice, and right now, for the past few months, I've got a really strong morning practice where I do these things every day that are non-negotiables. And also what I notice sometimes, often, is I'm doing it so I can hurry up and get through it. Which is, there's nothing wrong, but it's like why am I doing the morning practice? So I was like asking them that. Why do you want to do it? And y'all can answer this too. I wanted to do it. I want to do it so I can feel at peace. So I can feel like fulfillment or pride that I am a person that does a morning practice no matter how I feel emotionally. It's good for my self-esteem. I feel good about myself when I do it. But I could also go into that practice just mindless and without intentionality, and I'm not going to get the results. So my point in telling this to this client was like, sure, you can have a morning practice and that's great. And also, it's about the intentionality that you put behind it. Like I write affirmations, and a lot of mornings when I write them, I notice I'm just writing them to hurry up and finish. That's not the best energy, and it's not going to give me the greatest results if I'm just doing it so I can check a box. So what this card is saying is that you really slow down and you be intentional, and you take the time. That's as important as the actual activity of the manifestation. So this card, the name is Birthing a New Age, Birthing New Creations, Dreaming a New World into Being. So now we are going to get some deeper messages here. I'm going to let y'all pick the deck. I know I talked about this before, like I don't do card reversals because my mind just gets fucked up and confused. And sometimes when I'm like, okay, which deck do I use? If I like second guess it, then I'm like, I'm not sure which one. So we have Light Seers and Osho Zen. So just say Osho or Light Seers. Okay, we'll just take a minute. Woo woo. We've got some voters. Hi, Tony. Hi, Claire. Okay. Going once, going twice, going thrice. Hi, Matt. Okay. Let me count up the votes. Let's see. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 for Osho. 1, 2, 3 for Light Seers. So Osho wins by 1. Hi, Monica. And yes, they are both good. You know what I love when I do one-on-one readings in person? It's so fun because I do the thing where I fan out the cards and I have the client pick the cards. So, you know, of course, online we can't do that. So, so that was a little way to have y'all be more involved. It reminds me too of the YouTube tarot readings. Anybody do pick a card readings on there? Pile 1, pile 2, pile 3. Woo! This one flew out. We had the similar one, I think it was last week. We didn't have the exact same one, but it was similar. Compromise. So I'd love to hear your impressions on what comes up for you when you see this card, if you want to share. Hey, Butterfly Rain. Yvonne. Blah. I know. Look at their faces. Their faces are pretty damn blah. They are not happy about having to compromise. Oh, making a choice. Do y'all see how their pinkies are touching? It's like they're just barely, like, they don't want to, but for some reason they must. And so it's like two kids that are like forced to play together, or maybe two kids who had a fight over a toy and then they have to like make up. And there's just like, I mean, I can just feel this resistance coming through. Maybe I'm picking up on some of on that for some of you if you are feeling this energy. Oh, interesting, Matt. You know, I mean, we don't know the story of how these two people on this card got here. I mean, they look like Yakuza or something, or samurai. Not Yakuza, samurai. Maybe Shaolin, or no, that's Chinese, not Japanese. I think this is Japanese. Anyway, they look like, you know, something has happened where they're forced to compromise. Maybe they're looking at their differences. So thinking about yourself and whatever may be coming up for you, that whoever this person is, or maybe it's a situation, that you may be looking at the differences instead of the similarities. These people look very, very similar. They're wearing very similar clothes. They're like same ethnicity. They look around the same age. Exactly, Kate Kane. But yet, I can imagine in their minds, they're judging the shit out of each other and looking at how different they are. And that's what's creating this energy where they're just barely like compromising. So this is where if you're relating to this is where you are right now. And this is what the challenge is for you. So even if we bring in this card, because this is kind of like the overarching energy, that you get to remember your vision, remember what you're birthing, remember what you're creating, and don't get lost into like petty shit. And it might even be mindsets for some of you as well, where you're getting lost in old stories, or why it's too difficult, or why you can't, or why you feel it's not possible for you, or something like that. But for some of you, this will be a literal person. And also the message is like, sometimes what looks like this challenge, it's actually on your path to this. Well, not sometimes, all the time in a broader sense. But what if all of this is leading to what you want? Which it is, because we're on an infinite journey. Be lighter. Hi, Elisa. Eartha Kitt. Nice. Yeah, that's a great quote. How interesting. Relationship is a relationship that has to be earned, not compromised. Yeah, so some of you, it might be that you've been in this and it's time to break this. It's time to let go of the last connection. Thanks for bringing that in, because that's another insight coming through. That you've been in this energy and maybe that's blocking you from creating this. Maybe some of you are in relationship, but maybe a romantic relationship out of obligation, which we talked about last night in Conversations with God. And you're staying because it's familiar and comfortable, and you feel like maybe you are so similar and you'll never find anyone else. And also there's all these problems and you've tried and tried and you're done, but you can't leave. So maybe it's time. And if that's you as well, my new meditation, taking your power back from them, if there's that sort of dynamic going on, will be really helpful. Yeah, so there's many people here. So there's not going to be one static message for everybody, or even in the replay. Hi, Kelly. So, hi, Cynthia. Nice to see you as well. So yeah, so there's a couple different compromise messages coming through. So let's get some more insight. Ooh, there it goes. We've seen this one many times. So it's time again, as always. I think we got this. We did get this within the past week. The light of consciousness is always the answer. It really is. Kelly, I'm so glad you're here, because you popped into my head like really clearly in the past, like maybe 3 days or less. So glad to see you. So if you're bogged down in this energy, however this energy is playing out for you, this is your invitation. And you have the tools already. You have everything you need to bring the light of conscious awareness into this situation, so that you can realign with whatever it is that you want to create and that you're creating. Something is wanting to be birthed through you. This reminds me of my old job situation that so many of you have heard me tell this story. I just told this story to a friend yesterday. I was in this, job, remote job, online job, for 8.5 years. I'd worked there for almost 13 years. It had good things about it and also not good things, but I would not leave the job. I was in this energy of, it's the best job. I'm never going to find anything better. I've got to stick it out, blah, blah, blah. Even though my soul was calling me into something greater, I would not let go. So Source actually removed the job from me, basically. Oh, wow, Kelly. That's really interesting because you really strongly crossed into my mind, like I said, in the past like 3 days. So, um, yeah, and I actually was going to reach out to you. So I'm glad you're here. And sorry to hear of your loss and the anniversary and also COVID. So, yeah, I'm glad you're here today. Yeah. I just love how connected we all are. Yeah. And why does it still surprise me? I don't know, but that's okay. No judgment. But yeah. So, bringing this light of consciousness into this situation will help you realign. Look at look at these two. Look at this, the third eye in this star, and there's also stars here, here. It's like this is supporting this journey, and it all starts from here. So your consciousness is where everything begins. So you embody the Buddha nature, whatever that means for you. The Buddha is peace, is connection, is truth, is all knowing, all wisdom. And this light of consciousness breaks through these clouds of, we'll just call this energy. So for those who wanted light seers, ooh, y'all remember Lion's Gate? There it is. That's the Lion's Gate card for those who are here for that. So we'll draw a card, Light Seers. I have been deepening my morning rituals. I've showed y'all my puja table over my shoulder here. That's why I have my beautiful art there on the wall in front of my table. And because I was listening to Polishing the Mirror by Ram Dass, and he talked about his puja table, and I've had I call it my altar for a long time, but now I'm meditating in front of it. I have candles, I have the Bhagavad Gita, I have my mala, I'm doing my mantra, I'm facing east, and I'm really connecting before I go into my meditation. So that's sort of what this means for me, is I'm intentionally like creating the foundation before I go into my meditation to connect. And so I have these very sacred ashes from my guru Amma when I was living in India in her ashram, and I rarely use them. I mean, I have quite a bit, but you know, when they're gone, they're gone. But I put it on my third eye for the meditation today, and my throat chakra and my heart chakra. And so yeah, so that's what also came to mind for me, is that third eye opening and focus. Sheila, you did? Amazing. You saw her in Boston and New York. Yeah, awesome, Laura. Yeah, I haven't seen Amma. I lived at her ashram in 2017. I haven't seen her since then. And I've been to India twice since. But I just haven't felt the call, and that's okay. Woo! So if y'all don't know Amma, she's the hugging saint. She's, you know, these gurus in India, they're otherworldly beings. Like they're so like of other, you know, higher dimensions, and she is definitely one. Does anybody not know who Amma, the hugging saint, is? And if she is touring the US now, go see her if you are nearby. It's an experience, if nothing else. It's like India is, you get to experience India within this, you know, small container of time and space. It's amazing. I would definitely recommend it. Okay. Hi, Kiana. I have done many things and been many places, yes. So Matt doesn't know who Amma is. So she's an Indian. Oh, tomorrow's the last day. Oh, well. So if somebody, Kiana's nearby and you just came in right now, maybe this is for you or not. So we're talking about my guru, Amma. She's on a US tour. Tomorrow in Chicago is her last day. So anybody in that area could go see Amma. So I won't, so basically she grew up in a very poor fishing village, and she just had compassion and heart for you know, the people around her. She was very poor. You know, as a kid, she would even give her food away to people poorer than her. So she had that sort of a heart. And then when she was a teenager, for some reason, like people would just start coming. She was giving people advice, and it was good advice, and people felt uplifted. And then she started hugging people, which in India, you know, especially when you're like a teenager, a girl, to hug anyone like a man or a male or somebody older was very out of the ordinary. But this is how she started, seeing people in the cow shed. And so just over the years, the people grew, and long story short, she's now, you know, 65 or 66 years old. But through this has grown up a community around her, and wealth and abundance in which she's just in service to the world. She's built universities, hospitals, schools, charity projects in India and around the world. I mean, her assets are in the millions now, so she came from nothing and created that. So she's never moved out from her home. When you go to visit her ashram, which was just built up around her home area, that original cow shed is still there. And like the building, I stayed in like there's a 20-story apartment building. Like I stayed there. So it's huge now. I lived there for 6 weeks. But the very first time I met her was on my 40th birthday. I was living in LA, and she came to LA. So that, and anyway, it's a bit of a longer story. Like I saw her on TV in 2006, and that's part of a different, I'll just tell the story. Screw it. We're here. So, all right, it was like 2004. I was living in South Carolina. Awesome, Laura. And my nephew, okay, so follow this. My nephew's stepmom, okay, father. My nephew's stepmom's father was the head of the Southern Baptist Convention at this time. Basically the head of the Southern Baptists in the world. So that organization had 11 million members. Okay, so this documentary that was made, it was done by French brothers, Laura. Maybe it wasn't just about Amma though. So this documentary that was made was highlighting maybe 10 or 15 of the people in the world who had the biggest religious followings or spiritual followings. So, like, you know, I don't think they interviewed the Pope, but he would be, you know, head of the Catholics or whatever. So my nephew was on this. It was like CBS News, like, or not news, like this CBS channel. It was this like nationally broadcast documentary. So my nephew was going to be on TV, is the point. So of course, you know, it's like, oh, you know, when a family member is going to be on national television, you want to watch it. So we watched this documentary so we could see my nephew. So what they did was they followed a day in the life of each of these spiritual or religious teachers. So they had, you know, Muslim, they had all religions, they had everything. So they had Amma. And when I saw Amma's segment, I was just like, who is this woman? Like, oh my God. Like, so basically she hugs people. And now she's so prolific, like she will hug for 15 hours straight or 24 hours straight without stopping. So she will hug in a short period of time like thousands and thousands of people because everyone wants to see her. And it started from nothing, as I said. So when I saw this documentary and I saw her just hugging and just the love and like the impact, and then of course like the philanthropic thing she did as well, I was just like, oh my God, I want to hug this woman. Like I want to, it was just like so interesting to me. I mean, if you look her up, like I feel like this is coming through for somebody to check into, and especially, too bad Kiana's not in Chicago area, but if you are, or if you know somebody that is, you know, she's very accessible. And it's so interesting because of the volume of people, there is this whole, like, they've had to streamline and organize how you get to have a hug. You have to take a number, you have to wait in these lines, and it takes hundreds of people to even organize this. It's a show, like it's not meant to be, but it's like this huge production because of just the volume of people. So yeah, I remember my first experience, and it takes hours, you know, to finally get to her, to give her a hug, and then you have to do, you know, you have to do it in a certain way and blah blah blah. But so yes, I've had a number of hugs with Amma. Yeah, so that's Amma. Now I don't even remember. Oh, because these are the ashes from her ashram, so that's where that all started. Great. So one more card from the reading, and then we're going to listen to the beautiful story that I want to play for you as part of the our session for today. Yeah, it's an experience. 88 meditators. Yeah, I mean, you have an expectation going into it, right? Like there's a buildup. Even, I mean, I could have a whole session to talk about Amma actually, because you know I lived there, and yeah, I have some stories. What I experienced a couple times is actually after the hug was more powerful than the hug because of the energy that was there. Yeah, I'm a writer, and I've written about some of this. Yeah, I'll do it. Why not? I mean, it's very, very interesting. So, I've never done a live to talk about Alma, but yeah, I will. Woo, that'll be fun. So I'll schedule that. Oh, who was the hug with, Laura? With your grandfather? Yeah, I mean, you can see there's a lot. I mean, India India in itself is, there's so much there, energetically and physically, and yeah, in the Amma experience, it's a definite experience. So yeah, and so she gave me a mantra. So if you officially like have somebody become your guru, part of that is they give you a mantra. And so I was in California, I saw her twice, and the second time she gave me a mantra and they whisper it into your ear. Yes, and Amma means mother. So it's very much, she's the embodiment of the Divine Mother. So it's interesting. Y'all heard me talk about the person who I met recently that was a Reiki master here in Bali, and we connected and they gave me a Reiki session. Well, he told me, like, start meditating with your mantra again, start reconnecting with your guru again. And so that's why I'm now doing mantra meditation and sitting in front of my table. So it's very interesting that now Amma is coming up right now. So I have different malas. This one I actually sell. I sold malas for a while. It's called Serenity Malas. And I had these made in Rishikesh, India. I was in Rishikesh and I met a mala maker. And so I had these custom made. So this exact one is that. Also, as part of the Amma experience as well, malas are these necklaces. You've probably seen these before, butterfly. Um, so if the guru puts the necklace like onto you, then it changes from a mala into a japa, which means a whole. It's very holy. So not this one, but I have two that when I hugged Amma, so like you can just go up to her when you give her the hug and hand her the mala, and she knows, and she'll put it on you and then give you the hug. So then that makes it a very special, more sacred piece of jewelry. So you meditate with this. If you don't, anyone that doesn't know, there's 108 beads, holy number. So with this mantra, and you can use any mantra. You don't have to have a guru. Like you can say, you can even say God, you can say Jesus. It doesn't matter. It's repeating the word. So I have, a Sanskrit mantra that she gave me, that's about compassion. So, each time you say the mantra, then you move the bead and then you go all the way around. So that's how you use this. So that all wanted to come through. I hope it was interesting and helpful. So let's get this last Light Seers card to tie everything together. And then what we'll do is I'm going to play this story that I told you about. And then, yeah, definitely it is. And we're going to do that as the meditation. And I'm going to channel Reiki as we hear the story. It might be a 10-minute story. I'm not exactly sure. But it's from the audiobook. So it's not Ram Dass's voice, but it's his book. So, all right. One more card for anything else we need to know about the reading that we had earlier. The Emperor. So the message for this is that you remember your power. that with this light of consciousness, with the dynamics we talked about, in the reading earlier, or if you missed it, it doesn't matter. You can watch the replay or you can just tune into this energy now. It's like you get to be your own emperor. You have this energy within you. So it's a reminder of your power. And it's a reminder to take the power back from your mind, from the limiting beliefs, from victim energies or mindsets or disempowerment or all of the places that you get stuck or lost, to remind yourself that you're the one in control. What this signifies to me right now, this chess piece, is this is your mind. And it's like, this doesn't have any power over you or control over you, although you can feel that way. It's like the advice is like, it's time for you to remember that you are the master of your mind. It's not the master of you. And he's sitting on the planet Mars. So Mars energy is very powerful here. So you might want to look at what's Mars doing right now in your chart, in your astrology chart. If you're into that, look up the transits, look up your natal Mars, your transit Mars. There may be something there that can give you some information that could help support you in what area of your life this is talking about. Or even just looking at your natal Mars and seeing how you can embody that energy. Mars is, this actually is a card of Aries, which Aries is the leader. Aries is very masculine. Aries is fire. So using all of this to like burn away all of this, and to, the warrior, Laura. So using the light of your consciousness to then step into your power to create what you want. And the emperor is wise and in its highest path, right? In the highest vibration. It's wise, it's knowledgeable, it's disciplined, structured. If the card was reversed or if it's in the low vibration, like, it's not great energy. But we're talking about being in the high version of this. You're welcome. I'm glad it's helpful. I want to look up the affirmation for this, as we often do with the light seers. And I might read more. We'll see how it feels. So the affirmation for this is, I lead my evolution with confidence, authority, and generosity. I lead my evolution with confidence, authority, and generosity. So that's bringing in like the softness, the givingness. Ooh, nice, Claire. Yeah, that's right. It depends on the card, Claire, as far as negative or challenging energies. So say, let's see if there's a card. No, these are all sort of happy cards. Anyway. If the upright version of the card, say, is like the Eight of Swords and it's like about anxiety, then reverse of that would actually be positive or helpful. But this specific card, if it's upside down, it's like the low road of these powerful energies. Yep. The shadow side. Yeah. Thank you, Melinda, for the donation. So, the meanings are a natural leader, structure, a business person, a time to employ strategic and analytical thinking, taking action, calculated risk, divine masculine, looking after others, authority, power, boundaries, success. So there's action also in this card. So based on whatever your consciousness shows you, the message is take action about whatever this is for you. All right, so we're going to settle into our meditative space. I will channel Reiki. I will bring in ancestral clearing as well. And if you missed it earlier, I talked about what we're going to do now. Hi, Rose. Is listen to a story. It's in a book by Ram Dass called Polishing the Mirror, but he's referencing a story from another book. So just so you know. So please close your eyes, get into a meditative space to hear this story as part of, meditation. Ooh, awesome, Claire. I could definitely help you with that if you want to reach out, have a coaching conversation. That's exactly what I help people with. So that's great. Congratulations. All right. Tell me if the volume is not okay. And just take this in contemplation as I channel the energy.
Is one of my favorites because it shows how to bring about harmony by embracing conflict with compassion and understanding. The train clanked and rattled through the suburbs of Tokyo on a drowsy spring afternoon. Our car was comparatively empty, a few housewives with their kids in tow, some old folks going shopping. I gazed absently at the drab houses and dusty hedgerows. At one station, the doors opened, and suddenly the afternoon quiet was shattered by a man bellowing violent, incomprehensible curses. The man staggered into our car. He wore laborer's clothing, and he was big, drunk, and dirty. Screaming, he swung at a woman holding a baby. The blow sent her spinning into the laps of an elderly couple. It was a miracle the baby was unharmed. Terrified, the couple jumped up and scrambled toward the end of the car. The laborer aimed a kick at the retreating back of the old woman, but missed as she scuttled to safety. This so enraged the drunk that he grabbed the metal pole in the center of the car and tried to wrench it out of its stanchion. I could see that one of his hands was cut and bleeding. The train lurched ahead, the passengers frozen with fear. I stood up. I was young then, some 20 years ago, and in pretty good shape. I had been putting in a solid 8 hours of Aikido training every day for the past 3 years. I liked to throw and grapple. I thought I was tough. The trouble was, my martial skill was untested in actual combat. As students of Aikido, we were not allowed to fight. Aikido, my teacher had said again and again, is the art of reconciliation. Whoever has the mind to fight has broken his connection to the universe. If you try to dominate people, you are already defeated. We study how to resolve conflict, not how to start it. I listened to his words. I tried so hard. I even went so far as to cross the street to avoid the kids, the pinball punks who lounged around the train station. My forbearance exalted me. I was both tough and holy. In my heart, however, I wanted an absolutely legitimate opportunity whereby I might save the innocent by destroying the guilty. This is it, I said to myself as I stood up. People are in danger. If I don't do something fast, somebody will probably get hurt. Seeing me stand up, the drunk recognized the chance to focus his rage. Aha, he roared, a foreigner. You need a lesson in Japanese manners. I held on lightly to the commuter strap overhead and gave him a slow look of disgust and dismissal. I planned to take this turkey apart, but he had to make the first move. I wanted him mad, so I pursed my lips and blew him an insolent kiss. All right, he hollered, you're gonna get a lesson. He gathered himself for a rush at me. A fraction of a second before he could move, someone shouted, "Hey!" It was ear-splitting. I remember the strangely joyous, lilting quality of it, as though you and a friend had been searching diligently for something and he had suddenly stumbled upon it. "Hey!" I wheeled to my left. The drunk spun to his right. We both stared down at a little old Japanese man. He must have been well into his 70s, this tiny gentleman sitting there immaculate in his kimono. He took no notice of me, but beamed delightedly at the laborer, as though he had a most important, most welcome secret to share. "Come here," the old man said in an easy vernacular, beckoning to the drunk. "Come here and talk with me." He waved his hand lightly. The big man followed as if on a string. He planted his feet belligerently in front of the old gentleman and roared above the clacking wheels. "Why the hell should I talk to you?" The drunk now had his back to me. If his elbow moved so much as a millimeter, I'd drop him in his socks. The old man continued to beam at the laborer. "What you been drinking?" he asked, his eyes sparkling with interest. "I've been drinking sake," the laborer bellowed back, "and it's none of your business." Flecks of spittle spattered the old man. "Oh, that's wonderful," the old man said. "Absolutely wonderful. You see, I love sake too. Every night, me and my wife, she's 76, you know, we warm up a little bottle of sake and we take it out in the garden and we sit on our old wooden bench and we watch the sun go down and we look to see how our persimmon tree is doing. My great-grandfather planted that tree and we worry about whether it will recover from those ice storms we had last winter. Our tree has done better than I expected, though, especially when you consider the poor quality of the soil. It is gratifying to watch when we take our sake and go out to enjoy the evening, even when it rains." He looked up at the laborer, his eyes twinkling. As he struggled to follow the old man's conversation, the drunk's face began to soften. His fists slowly unclenched. "Yeah," he said, "I love persimmons too." His voice trailed off. "Yes," said the old man, smiling, "and I'm sure you have a wonderful wife." "Nah, my wife died." Very gently, swaying with the motion of the train, the big man began to sob. "I don't got no wife, I don't got no home, I don't got no job. I'm so ashamed of myself." Tears rolled down his cheeks. A spasm of despair rippled through his body. There I was, standing in my well-scrubbed, youthful innocence, my make this world safe for democracy righteousness. I suddenly felt dirtier than he was. The train arrived at my stop. As the door opened, I heard the old man cluck sympathetically. My, he said, "that is a difficult predicament. Sit down here and tell me about it." I turned my head for one last look. The laborer was sprawled on the seat, his head in the old man's lap. The old man was softly stroking the filthy, matted hair. As the train pulled away, I sat down on a bench. What I had wanted to do with muscle had been accomplished with kind words. I had just seen Aikido tried in combat, and the essence of it was love.
So just allowing that story to sink in. And looking at how we can bring compassion. We don't know what other people are going through. And how we can bring compassion to ourselves as well. Notice where have you been violent with your thoughts and your judgments against others, against yourself, and how the example of the old man, his innocence, his fearlessness, his love and compassion can inspire us. And just breathe that into your heart center. Look at where can you soften. Where can you hold space for others or yourself with that energy? It reminds me of the Thich Nhat Hanh quote where he says, welcome sadness, welcome grief, welcome anger. Sit down next to me. I will take good care of you. Just feeling the Reiki as it moves in through and around you. The ancestral clearing. As it comes to a close. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You can come back to a wakeful state if you wish. And welcome back. So I'd love to hear how that story landed for you. I love just how even my body and my energy responds when the old man, when I hear how he is with the drunk. Ram Dass tells this story in his talks. And the first time I heard it was in one of his talks. And I loved how because it was like this moment when the old man says, "Hey!" In the way Ram Dass says it, it's different from what we heard. He's like, "Hey!" Like, and that really stuck with me. It's like this moment of interrupt. And how can we be that for ourselves? Because of course, the person we most need to bring compassion and softness and love to is ourselves. And then we can give it to others. So what's your pattern interrupt? You know, we can be like, "Hey!" Because that was the turning point in the story. Hi, Angela. I saw somebody else too join in. It's like this is the hey! Like everyone on the train, I mean, more than this, they were scared. The old man brought consciousness and love. And then even through that, he was able to demonstrate this energy, but from a loving, gentle place. And then the author, then there's that part of the story where he's this Aikido master and he's young and he's wanting to, use his Aikido, and he was just really wanting, to use it with this man and had a justified reason to. So it was like, okay, deal with this person either from love and compassion, or I wouldn't say violence, because Aikido, if coming, you're coming from a mindset that's different from that, but a very different way to deal with the situation. That's great, Laura. Awesome. So, hi, Kieran, Mishi, Barb. All right. I will schedule some live streams for this upcoming week, so please follow me so you can be notified of those. Join my group, Natalie's Healing Circle, where we can stay in touch, as well as Facebook, Instagram. Check out my website if you want to learn more about me and how I can support you. I'm offering to those who've never had a session of any kind with me a complimentary truth excavation guided journey to help you uncover deep truths within yourself that your soul is ready to reveal. And yeah, I will schedule an Amma live stream. That'll be fun to dive into even more. I feel like that's somebody, this is going to help somebody, like give them guidance or confirmation that they get to go to India. It will inspire them to take that action. So I'll schedule our upcoming lives, the Michael Singer Surrender Circle. We're listening to a talk called Choosing Peace that's very powerful. We're reading Conversations with God as well. So, you're welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a wonderful time. So, Butterfly Rain, every week at this time or around this time, I do this format with the cards. I also do a Reiki live that's shorter, and usually I will draw one card. So, yeah, so you can come again next week for the longer deep dive into the messages. Yeah, I'm so glad you came, Kelly. Ooh, beautiful. And I also did ancestral clearing around themes of, what came up in the story and in the reading. So, and for those who, shared their challenges. So, much love. See you very soon. Thank you so much. Thank you.